Hello, my name is Matthew Gavay, and my informative speech will be about cardiopulmonary resuscitation, stands for CPR. So CPR is a life-saving technique used by anyone and everyone to help save lives in case of like a cardiac arrest or drowning. It's most commonly known, I guess, in drowning victims. And so the point of my informative speech was to be about inform the audience about the importance of it and that the life skills that it can provide and the lives that it can save. So after my speech, I hope my audience is able to understand the importance, and maybe they can learn a few things and use it in case of an emergency in their lives. Some main points I'll just go over. The first one is about the background of CPR. So like I said, CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Techniques were first developed in 1740, and it kind of became mass spread in the 1960s. And since then, it's kind of just evolved, and people use electronic devices to help them learn, and it's been 911, people know it. And so ever since then, it's been really important, and it even helps to double and even triple survival rates in some cases. And so there's about a little more than 400,000 cases of cardiac arrest or drowning victims within the United States and worldwide. And so there's a lot of victims that can be saved, and sadly the survival rates are very low outside of hospitals. And I think that's also due to people knew CPR, maybe they could help save lives more so. Something basic about CPR: if you come across a victim and they're unconscious and they're laying on the ground, and you go up to them and you go, "Hey, sir, madam, are you okay? Are you okay?" You tap them on the shoulder, see if they're responsive. If they aren't responsive, you kneel down, you put finger on their neck, try and feel for a pulse, while also listening to if they're breathing, and then trying to see if their chest is rising. If they're breathing and they're breathing and they have a pulse, then they're fine. Just keep an eye on them, see if there's anyone else around that knows them. If they have no pulse and not breathing, then you got to start CPR. But first, you got to make sure that someone calls 911. If you're alone, make sure you just do that first off so that help arrives before anything else. And then, so if they're unconscious, no pulse, no breathing, you start with 30 chest compressions. And so this is my visual aid is this. Make sure your hands are in this formation, and then you do that, and then you do 30 chest compressions at the rate of 120 per minute, and you try and go 1.5 inches deep on an adult. For child and infant it varies, but primarily 1.5 inches down. You do 30 chest compressions, and then you do 2 rescue breaths, and then you try and see if the chest is rising. If the chest is not rising, you might have to check and see if there's anything in there. If they're lodged, if they have water, if they have food, if they're choking, whatever it may be. And then you just keep doing that until something changes. Help arrives, they're resuscitated, anything, or if you really are never supposed to leave unless it's unsafe for you, or you collapse, or the safe is unseen, or anything like that. And then, so that's pretty much CPR. And so a little bit of background, it helps understand the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack. So a cardiac arrest is actually when the heart stops working. And so that's why people use CPR to try and get the heart restarted and keep going again. So it's almost like, you can almost think of it as like an engine that just needs to be restarted. And that's about it. I hope you learned something from this speech. And hopefully, maybe one day you can use it to save someone's life.